answering your call to arms in the form of picking up the phone because I've got the courage and the pragmatic convictions to give you a call.
Good man.
And have a debate. And by Raz's definition, I'm one of those in the fringes as a bigot and unhinged. And I'll tell you why I'm a bigot and unhinged. If you look, I actually understand where he's coming from, Donald Trump. I'll tell you why. In 2008, Alison Roof, who's the member of the Church of England, she said quite simply, stop building mosques in the UK. And she said, we're constantly building mosques. That's paving the way for Sharia law. And if you don't want an Islamic state, then don't go this way. Now, she was called by the Muslim Council of Britain as bigoted and xenophobic, just simply echoing what Raza Nadeem said. Fast forward 2015. Now, the biggest mosque that was planned in Newham, near the Olympic Park, which has 3 times the floor space of St. Paul's, was stopped. And Greg Clark was behind that, the community secretary, and he said, look, this is causing a lot of division in Newham, and if you continue with it, it will continue to cause divisions. And it was by a Muslim group called the Tablighi Jamaat or something like that. And they
Tablighi Jamaat, yeah.
That's it, my pronunciation.
290,000 square foot mosque in East London.
3 times the space of St. Paul's in England, where we live as a British Sikh, where I live, where I've got in Gravesend a large Gurdwara, and I'm thankful. But I do not want to convert England into Khalistan. Now, the French intelligence in 2003, they turned around and said, you know what, this is a chamber for fundamentalism. This is before the Paris atrocities, they said it. In 2003, Michael Hainbach, who was the deputy chief of the FBI's international terrorism group, he said, we found Al-Qaeda is using them to recruit people. Now, my problem is not Muslims coming into the country. My problem is what they will do when they get into the country. Now, the questions that need to be asked is this. Do you value Sharia law more than the law of England? Yes. All right. Why do you want to come to England? Do you think that, and these are the questions that...
Sorry, a Muslim is required, Don, to obey the laws of the country that they are living in. That is very clear. So it would be un-Islamic of you to break laws in a country that you are in.
Right. Can I come back on that? I'm not here to bash Islam because there are good points in Islam. And one of the rhetorics that's been put out there, which is a beautiful phrase, if you kill one innocent, you kill of all humanity. And as you've rightly said before, their definition of who is innocent is not the same as you and I. I don't believe, I don't get sometimes a gay concept, etc. But you know what? I'm learning, I'm thinking. I've invited a gay couple to my wedding. So I'm evolving, I'm learning. I'm a pragmatic person who has convictions, but is evolving and learning. There is beauty within Islam, but their definition of who is innocent is not the same as you and I. They also believe, and it's written there...
Sorry, wait a minute, wait. Wait a minute, you can't just say all Muslims believe one thing in the same way all Sikhs don't believe. There are some Sikhs who believe this, there's some Sikhs who believe there should be interfaith marriages in Gurdwaras, there's some who believe there shouldn't be.
And they're wrong. But what I'm saying to you is, when you, and it's brilliant that guy said, you ain't no Muslim, bruv. He had the grasp of English language. Your colleague there who filled in for you...
It's a double negative, actually, so...
Well, I know, but you know what? He had a rudimentary then grasp of English. The point he was saying, you do not represent what Islam is supposed to stand for, this peace-loving religion. But there is wrong within what the notions of what Islam believes in, wrong within their scriptures, and they need to be challenged. And what is wrong with therefore asking Muslims that when you...
So what would you challenge? Sorry, what would you challenge?
I would say to them, look, you're coming to England. Do you prefer Sharia law? Yes. Well, why come to England? Do you prefer speaking your own language and you're not going to learn to speak English? Well, why come to this
with all due respect, mate, I've come across plenty of Asians who are not Muslim, whose parents are here, grandparents don't speak a word of English. So that's not something you can put at the door of Muslims, Don.
Social cohesion requires...
There are Polish people like that.
I know, but what I'm trying to say...
There are English people who go to Spain and never bother to learn a word of Spanish.
Should. I'm not saying that is also right. I'm not defending it by saying that's wrong. When you go to another country, you know what? Enjoy their food, enjoy their culture.
But don't focus on Muslims. If you want to focus on Muslims, focus on things that are purely an issue with Islam, not lumping together Muslims in problems that all of us have or prejudices we all have.
Exactly. The problems with Islam is, and then let's not forget this as well, it's written within the Quran that when you lie to promote Islam, it's not a lie. So what I'm saying to you, the problem is not Muslims coming into this country, it's what they do. And the example I've just given is the mosques being built as a recruitment ground, as a way of getting Sharia law, and you've got even Muslims turning around.
Wait a minute, sorry. Or a place where someone can go and pray, where they can have some moment of peace, where they can congregate in a social way with other people from their community.
Yep.
You've just placed all the negative things about a mosque.
Not just all negative. What I'm saying to you...
If someone was to say to you, Don... Wait a minute, Don. If someone was to say to you the only reason that people build gurdwaras is where militants can hang out and talk about Khalistan, that would be offensive. And rightly so, that would be offensive.
But what I'm saying... I'll tell you what...
But you've just said the same thing about mosques.
Okay, let me come back, if I may. Sorry, I've heard you, and I know I've only got limited time. It's not going to be the Don Show. But, I'm actually saying that I have prejudices based on what Muslims have done. The terrorism that's been committed in the name of Islam. I have those prejudices. I accept them. So what I'm saying to you is, as a Sikh, we've got a Gurdwara. But does that mean that I'm going to say, you know what, let's keep building Gurdwaras funded by a Khalistan movement, like the mosques are being built, funded by the oil states. So that way we're eventually going to turn England into a caliphate. No, it's not going to happen, because as a British Sikh, I'm prepared to integrate, but when I walk down the road, then I want to see a mosque, I want to see a church, I want to see a Gurdwara, I want to see everyone together, and then I want to have social cohesion, and we're bound together by a language.
So would you rather that all Muslim immigration to this country stopped?
I'm saying that you ask the questions that when you come to England, what do you love about England? And if the answer is not a lot, really, because I think the West is corrupt, then don't come in.
Okay, Don, thank you very much indeed. Don, you want to come back in?
Yeah, I mean, look, to Sarah, my sister, and I mean that genuinely, and you know what, if Sarah somehow, when this show ends, wants to invite me to a mosque to show me something differently, then you know what, I'll be happy to do that. All I'm saying is, as a Sikh, all right, because you said some people join the EDL because the rally about not building mosques and so on and so forth, and you know what, this is a thing, my granddad even said, I want to join the National Front, because, there is a history between Sikhs and Muslims as far as stopping the empire, this, that, and the other, converting people by force, etc., etc. And I am conditioned by that. I want to have love, but everything that I've seen that happen in India, this, that, Africa, this, that, and the other, it's making us paranoid, it's making us fearful, and it's causing hatred in my heart. I want to be challenged with that, but what I am saying to you is, I love England. I, as a Sikh, I shouldn't be drinking, shouldn't be eating meat, but you know what? I can, and I do, and I love England. But what's scaring me is that there is no cohesion between us, and we even had that debate about language. It's important to learn the language, and when you've got a parda, a veil, you know what? A smile can bridge language, because you can communicate with a smile, but if you can't even see someone smile, where's the cohesion? Where's the integration? Where's the allegiance to each other?
Are you rude to people when you call them on the phone, Don?
Sorry? Was I rude?
No, are you rude to people when you call them on the phone?
I'll try not to be rude to anybody on the phone or face-to-face.
Right, but you can't see their face.
No, I'm not rude to anybody. It doesn't matter what happened.
So why should you be rude to someone wearing or why should you feel that someone wearing a burqa and a niqab is somehow you can't communicate with them?
You had someone on your show who actually got rid of the burqa after many a year. I heard your debate, and she actually said she felt liberated because she can connect with people.
And yesterday I spoke to a woman who wears the niqab, and she loves it when people come up and talk to her. She's the one who got on a Segway in a park because a couple of kids asked her to get on a Segway in a park. And she glided along in a niqab on it.
Agreed. You should draw a line on a piece of paper and put on there, for England, against England. And as a Muslim, as a Sikh, as a Hindu, as anyone entering this country, if you've got more in favour of a country that you've come from, rather than, say, England, then you shouldn't come to England, because you're not going to integrate.
Well, sorry, Don, Sarah, I'll bring you back in a second. Go on, Sarah. Go on.
I was just going to say that, I know this might come as a shock to him, but I think the majority of Muslims do love England. They really do. They really do feel like Britain. They do feel like they're British. They do feel like they're Western, whatever you want to call it. And I just think that the only solution really is for everybody to reach out to each other, and rather than be frightened of each other, to go and start make conversations in the supermarket, make conversations on the tube, invite people to your house, and realise that we're not scary. We might have a in our house, but it doesn't mean that we have fundamental material.
Don, it's not easy, is it, Don, to feel British when you sit down on a tube carriage in London and everyone else moves to the next carriage. It's not easy to feel British, is it, if people don't...
Look, on a positive here, what Sarah's saying is correct. And when I see Sarah, I would say to her, Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal. And you know what would lift my heart is if Sarah would say, you know what, Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal back. But as I've said to you before, and Muslims know that, and Muslims even admitted it, they're not interested in learning other people's cultures or warming to their cultures or celebrating it. Not celebrating Christmas. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that, because Islam is the true only way. It's not the true only way. It's another path to the same goal. And she's absolutely right. Without all these just buzzwords, we live in harmony. You know what?
Okay, no, Don, I'm going to have to stop you there, my friend. Sorry, but I've run out of time. But Don and Sarah, thank you very much.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.